Well, for more on Black Panther, I'm joined by Imani Cheers. She's an assistant professor of media and public affairs at George Washington University. So I understand you've just come from seeing the film, and we know
Absolutely.
that the buzz surrounding Black Panther really started very early. Tell us about the expectations for this film.
Expectations are super high, but they're in the right hands because Ryan Coogler as a director is absolutely outstanding. For those who have been a fan of his like myself, we saw with Fruitvale Station, we saw with Creed, so knowing that he was going to direct was amazing. And then looking at the cast, how could you go wrong when you have everyone from Forest Whitaker and Angela Bassett, all the way down to, obviously Chadwick Boseman is such a huge fan of his, Howard University grad like myself. So it was just amazing. We knew that it was going to have high expectations, but they delivered.
Now, we know that this was a very big budget movie at around $200 million. Yeah. This is actually one of the biggest budgets that Marvel has allocated to one of its movies. And we know that Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige said they really went all out in terms of resources. Why do you think that is, and how was that reflected in the film?
I think the biggest thing that they wanted to do was with the special effects. So, of course, you have an incredible cast, but this film is set in a fictional, amazing African country of Wakanda, and they're technologically advanced on all levels, so they really needed to make sure that visually it matched where the story was going to take place. And on the one hand, shooting and filming, on the African continent in any way, shape, or possible was going to allow visuals to be outstanding, but they knew that in order to really make it, Ruth E. Carter, the costume director alone, if you look at all of the gorgeous colors in this film. You just knew that it was going to have to really be strong with their resources for Marvel, and it was completely epic.
Now, other than Wonder Woman, we know that we've been inundated with really a lot of sequels and prequels, and there was a little bit of superhero fatigue. What do you think Black Panther might bring to audiences that they haven't seen before?
I think it's something fresh. This is the first time, we're talking about a comic book series that started in the 1960s, so this isn't necessarily a brand new concept, and we've seen other Black superheroes. You can go back to a Meteor Man in the late 1980s, and even to a Blade, right, in 2000. So we've seen Black superheroes, but not on this level. So I think it's just really refreshing. Black Panther first made his Marvel sort of, resurgence with Civil War. So we saw that about 2.5 years ago. So we were begging for just something new. And to have this story come out and where the social commentary that, again, the script was written about 2.5 years ago, but it was really prophetic in the things that they were talking about then that are so important and resonate right now.
And how important do you think this film is for Disney's brand overall?
Sure, I think Disney needed to also kind of rebrand itself a little bit. So now we're looking at having this incredibly iconic, character, and we're going to hopefully see sequels and hopefully trilogies, and things will come from this. And Marvel's already mentioned that they've already greenlit Black Panther 2, so whatever that's going to be and when that's going to come out, we'll be equally anticipating. But for Disney, I think they really needed to sort of have, again, sort of strong diversity in cast. You look at, yes, it's a predominantly Black film, but within the Blackness, there is such diasporic representation. You have Letitia Wright, who's probably my favorite. She plays Black Panther's little sister, and she's a complete breakout star. I don't want to say she steals the film, but she definitely steals many scenes, and she's outstanding. And she's from Guyana. You have Lupita Nyong'o from Kenya. You have so many actors from all over the diaspora.
Now, I do want to look at the global reaction. We've seen that the film has opened where it's opened so far, Hong Kong, South Korea, UK, it's opened #1 there. Sure. And it's also going to open on the Chinese mainland in March. You've got one of the biggest movie audiences in the world. How do you think it's going to play there?
I think it's going to do incredibly well. I think we've seen historically that Marvel films, especially Marvel films that are going to be authentic and fresh and new, are going to do really well. So if you even, look back at some films that have also opened in the market and they've done extremely well, we can go back to like The Dark Knight, and that entire series, about 10 years ago was really, really strong. So I'm looking forward to seeing the numbers. I know right now they said we're looking at possibly, over 170 million opening weekend, and I think we're easily going to hit $1 billion by the time this is all said and done.
And just very quickly, we know that this film without spoiling anything, we know that this film covers a lot of themes, social, cultural, and even the importance of representation on both sides of the camera. How do you see that shaping how Hollywood and some of these big studios approach filmmaking going forward?
This is the culmination of what we've seen for probably decades. So it's just so exciting to see. Ryan Coogler is 31 years old. He is just getting started. We are seeing literally just the beginning of his career. And that is incredibly exciting for all those like myself who are a fan of his. And really where we're going with this is that you're going to see him obviously getting, more nods, larger budgets, but then also the reality that you can have a predominantly Black cast, a predominantly Black creative team, and it can also make a lot of money.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your insights. Imani Cheers there, assistant professor at George Washington University.